You know what's crazier than Doctor Strange traveling through the multiverse? Marvel Studios actually canceling one of their upcoming movies. Yeah, you heard that right. Disney and Marvel just pulled the plug on a mysterious, untitled Marvel film that was supposed to release in the summer of 2027, right in between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And the reasons behind this cancellation might tell us a lot about Marvel's current struggles, their future strategy, and what this means for Doctor Strange 3, Thor 5, and even the Fantastic Four. So today, we're breaking down why Marvel canceled this movie, what it means for the MCU timeline, and how it changes the road leading up to Avengers Secret Wars. Stick with me till the end, because some of the behind-the-scenes details here are absolutely wild, and they might completely change how you think about Marvel's next few years. So let's start with the facts. Variety, one of the most reliable Hollywood trades, confirmed that Disney has officially removed the July 23, 2027 Marvel movie from their calendar. That date has now been taken over by The Simpsons movie sequel. Yeah, I know, that's not the crossover we were hoping for. But here's the key thing. This isn't a rumor. It's not some insider leak from Twitter. This is official. Straight from the calendar. Marvel and Disney themselves submit to studios and theaters. Which means whatever plans they had for that untitled Marvel film are officially gone. Now, a lot of fans thought this untitled movie could have been Doctor Strange 3. Recently, rumors popped up about Sam Raimi being in talks to direct. It made sense, right? Doctor Strange is a central player in the multiverse saga, and with all the chaos around incursions, the dark dimension, and the looming presence of Kang or Doom, his story felt too important to skip. But here's the problem. Marvel's timeline is already packed tighter than Tony Stark's nanotech suit. Between now and 2027, Marvel has Avengers Doomsday and then Avengers Secret Wars. Those two movies are massive undertakings, with scripts still being finalized, major cast negotiations ongoing, and post-production likely spilling into every corner of the schedule. Trying to squeeze in a Doctor Strange 3 right in between? Honestly, almost impossible. And here's where things get messy. Reports suggest that the script for Avengers Doomsday only just got finished, or at least is close to being finalized. And the script for Secret Wars? Yeah, still in flux. Marvel has a habit of rewriting their stories deep into post-production, sometimes even changing major plot points during reshoots. If the rules of the multiverse, the mechanics of incursions, or the setup for Doom aren't 100% locked down yet, then trying to create another full-length MCU film that fits in the middle would be like trying to build a house on a foundation that's still wet concrete. Plot holes, inconsistencies, contradictions. It would have been a disaster waiting to happen. And let's not forget, Marvel's top creative team is already stretched to their limits. Kevin Feige, Michael Waldron, Brian Andrews, the Russo brothers consulting. Everyone is pouring energy into Doomsday and Secret Wars. These are films that need the entire Marvel brain trust. Just like they did with Avengers Endgame, where James Gunn and others were brought in to consult and make sure continuity lined up perfectly, to then say, oh, by the way, also make a Doctor Strange 3 or Thor 5 in between. That's just not realistic. Feige himself has been criticized recently for not having enough bandwidth to oversee so many projects at once. Adding another huge movie would only worsen the quality control issues Marvel has been battling the last couple of years. Now let's look at the bigger risk. Imagine this. Avengers Doomsday comes out, it's a smash hit, Robert Downey Jr.'s rumored Doctor Doom performance blows everyone away, and hype for Secret Wars hits the stratosphere. Then Marvel drops another movie just 6 months later, say a Doctor Strange sequel, and what if it isn't received as well? Instead of keeping the hype high, it could actually drag momentum down. The conversation could shift from Marvel is back to, maybe not. That's a risk Disney just can't afford right now. Remember, the MCU is in recovery mode. The last few years have been rough with box office drops, uneven writing, and projects that divided the fan base. Right now, Marvel needs wins, not filler. Now, interestingly, there's also some studio politics at play. Reportedly, Disney CEO Bob Iger wanted another Marvel movie slotted in between the two Avengers films. He felt the schedule needed more Marvel presence, especially since Spider-Man is technically a Sony co-production. But let's be real. This is exactly the kind of thinking that got Marvel into trouble in the first place. Under Bob Chapek, the push for more content more often led to an oversaturated Marvel pipeline. Too many shows, too many films, not enough focus. Fans burned out, quality dipped. So in some ways, this cancellation might actually be a good thing. It signals Marvel may be learning from past mistakes and prioritizing quality over quantity again. Some people have suggested Marvel could have done a prequel, like a Doctor Strange story that takes place before Doomsday, so it doesn't mess with continuity. But honestly, what's the point? That wouldn't add anything to the overarching multiverse saga. When you're this close to the biggest event since Endgame, every movie has to matter. Every story needs to push us closer to Secret Wars. A random side adventure right before the final battle? That's wasted potential. So does this mean Doctor Strange 3 isn't happening? Not necessarily. It just means it's not happening in between the Avengers movies. More likely, Strange's next chapter will either come after Secret Wars, or he'll play such a big role within Doomsday and Secret Wars that a solo movie isn't even needed right now. Remember, Strange was the one who warned about incursions and multiverse of madness. He could very well be a central player in how the multiverse finally collapses, or how it gets rebuilt. Zooming out, here's the key takeaway. Marvel is consolidating. They're trimming down their slate, focusing on the big tentpole projects, and making sure they actually deliver. Because the reality is, Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars aren't just movies. They're Marvel's chance to win back the fans they've lost. These two films will decide if the MCU can truly return to its former glory, or if superhero fatigue finally takes over. So in the end, while it might feel disappointing that Marvel canceled a 2027 movie, it's probably for the best. It gives Doomsday and Secret Wars room to breathe, prevents the creative team from being stretched too thin, and avoids risking momentum right before Marvel's biggest event. But what do you guys think? Was Marvel smart to cancel this mystery movie? Would you have wanted Doctor Strange 3 or Thor 5 squeezed in between the Avengers films? Or do you think it's better they save those stories for after Secret Wars? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them all, and I'm really curious what side of the debate you land on. And if you're new here at Superhero Bowl, we dive deep into Marvel news, leaks, and breakdowns every week. So if you want to stay on top of everything happening in the multiverse saga, make sure you stick around.